guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past week or so. We have some huge topics to discuss. Firstly, this week, Hansi Flick and Deco will be having a meeting to plan the future of this squad heading into the summer of 2025. Three key signings needed: a center back, a right back, and a left winger. And Deco has a list of multiple players in those areas that Flick and Deco will come to terms to agree upon who to sign. Also, in that regards, we could maybe see goalkeeper become a priority, as well as Szczesny coming out in the media saying that I may be surplus to requirements, maybe I'm not good enough to stay much longer, and Barcelona are in the market for a goalkeeper in the event that Szczesny does not continue. Ter Stegen staying super likely unless Ter Stegen has some cojones of himself and steps down and quits at Barcelona. But it really comes down to Szczesny. If Szczesny stays, we can buy a goalkeeper. If not, we won't. We'll wait and see on that. We have updates on Szczesny's renewal and of course those goalkeepers that we could end up signing. A lot of players of course expected to be leaving this summer: Pablo Torre, Ansu Fati, Pau Victor, and Inaki Pena. We have an update on their futures and also an update on Dani Olmo and Fermin Lopez, two players who are attracting huge, lucrative, big money transfer offers from Premier League clubs. We will discuss that as well. Some housekeeping as well around the club. Big update on Espai Barca returning to the Camp Nou, FFP, returning to the 1-1 rule, and also Joan Laporta running for re-election in the presidential election coming up at the end of this year / beginning of next year. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below and let's try and get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. Also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is by far the best replica jersey website on the market, and it's not even close. They have a variety of different items at the absolute best prices. They sent me two kits recently. First one is the retro Barcelona kit, the home kit, which I'm currently wearing right now, and also as well the second kit for that season in the blue edition. Oh my god, like the stitching is fantastic, the quality is superb. Feels like I have the actual original kit for a fraction of the price. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get 10% off your order. That's BOY. Use it at checkout, and all orders above $80 as well will receive free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past week or so. The first topic of discussion is what Barcelona's list of priorities are heading into the summer. Of course, season's over now. Domestic treble on lockdown. It is all about now planning and executing during the summer transfer window. Now, ESPN have come out saying that Barcelona are targeting a center back, a full back, and a left winger this summer. Hansi Flick wants to push further in the UCL next season, and Deco has multiple plans ready based on available funds. And next week, of course, where we are right now, this week, there will be a crucial meeting between Deco and Flick where they will discuss signing and of course player futures / departures, renewals in there as well. So at some point during this week, there's going to be a meeting between Flick and Deco to discuss the plans going forward for the squad. And again, a center back, a full back, and a left winger is what we're prioritizing, which, to be honest, I can understand why. I think at center back, they are expecting some departures, whether it be Eric, Andreas, Ronald, someone there most likely will leave. If they all stay, I will still back that as well. Left wing, we're desperate. Full back, we are desperate. Of course, everyone in the fan base will want a goalkeeper. That's right now not a priority unless, of course, players' futures comes into our advantage. Now, on playing the squad, Deco was speaking to the media saying on next season and transfer, saying, I don't think anyone wants to leave this team. Everyone's enjoying themselves. We're already renewed most of the players, and now we need to take care of the ones that we haven't yet. Sometimes it feels like we're too dependent on Raphinha and Lamine. Maybe we need similar players, someone to support them. The squad is well balanced, and we also have a lot of good things coming from the youth teams. That there is them screaming left winger. It is quite clear that this team is desperate for another winger, and where we lack this season is that winger depth, whether it be Ansu Fati. Of course, Ferran got shifted into the middle for Lua. Pau Victor is a little bit surplus to requirements as well. It's quite clear a left winger is needed. The rumors is that we are expecting a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 4 signings this summer. Some people are saying 2 to 4, so pretty much maximum 4, minimum 2/3. So we'll wait and see where we execute, how we execute, and what we execute as well. But it's quite clear that I think right now, fullback, left winger, top 2, center back will become a priority if there are certain departures. Then goalkeeper will be that 4th just in case, / maybe striker as well. If we can't find a goalkeeper that we really like, maybe they can see a striker that we do like, might maybe pull that one off. So I think left wing and fullback are the 2 that are guaranteed right now. The rest after that will depend on funds, how the squad's looking, also on renewals as well. Now, of course, the main priority for Barcelona will be the signing of a left winger, and right now it's still unclear who the #1 priority in which Barcelona will pursue. Now, Alex Pentel from Relivos come out saying that in the coming months, signing a winger remains Deco's main priority, and Nico Williams is back on the radar. Some notable departures are expected in the defense. Again, we know that already, but again, winger is a priority, and Nico Williams is on the radar. However, Alfredo Martinez of Sport has come out saying that Luis Diaz is Deco's favorite, and he really wants to try for him this summer. Asking price is close to 80 million, with his wages being not too high, and he fits the profile in which Deco is looking for. I do have some positive news. Some of my sources have said that Flick isn't too keen on Luis Diaz. He likes him, but he would prefer other wingers. They didn't tell me which wingers, but they do prefer other wingers over Luis Diaz. So Flick not being super keen may help us, but Deco is twerking for Luis Diaz like no tomorrow, and I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. A 29-year-old in his prime who barely is fit, not even, Liverpool's in their top 5 best and most important players, 80 million as well. Like, I'm thinking back when end of 2024, begin 2025. Okay, if Luis Diaz is like 50 million and Deco really wants him, okay, we can take a bit of a gamble, of course, if Flick gives a green light. 80 million, you are having a lot. He's more expensive than Frenkie de Jong, and we bought Frenkie de Jong for 75 million in his prime. Like, in the fact of his prime value, he wasn't in his prime per se as a playing career, but 80 million is just outrageous for a 29 injury-prone South American. It just does not make sense in any capacity whatsoever. So we're praying that either Liverpool help us or Flick tells Deco to wake the hell up. Nico Williams, fair price, young, Spanish, about to enter his prime, so much more for experience for him to grow, knows like the whole team, so integration will be piss easy. Like, it makes so much more sense than Luis Diaz. The fact that he's cheaper, yet we're so twerking for the 29-year-old passive guy. This one screams Antoine Griezmann. We signed Antoine Griezmann for 120 million in his prime. Didn't make sense, but we did it because he's just a good player. We got one good season out of him, and then we've lost money on it ever since. It just does not make sense whatsoever. At least Luis Diaz is cheaper and fits the team more than Griezmann did back in the day, but this just makes zero sense whatsoever, and Deco needs to wake up. Again, Deco has done a pretty good job as a sporting director so far, especially on the renewal aspect. Signings as well, I think he's been pretty big with, of course, only last summer he signed Olmo. That was pretty much it, and that's, of course, come good, but I don't understand his obsession with Luis Diaz, but hopefully Flick and internally they can change his mind, because right now he is still twerking for him with that price tag looming as well. So wait and see. Again, we know that Nico Williams is on the radar. He is a player that Barcelona do like, but the sporting director is favoring Luis Diaz, whereas Flick is favoring other options apart from Diaz. Now, in regards to signing a center back, the only center back that we can probably sign at this point is Jonathan Tah. Again, we do have full agreement with Tah on personal terms for a 3-year contract at Barcelona. The signature from the Barcelona perspective has not arrived yet. Now, Rosalido and Fermin Martinez of Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Tah hasn't made a final decision yet and is still considering all his options. Still, Bayern Munich is pushing hard, and Barca are now accepting that the defender probably won't end up coming to them. The player is aware that Barca needs more time to fix their FFP issues, while Bayern is moving quickly to get the deal done. Fermin Martinez also said that Jonathan Tah is being approached by Bayern Munich and his signing is getting pretty close. He is a player that is liked heavily by Hansi Flick, and that Flick again internally is insisting on signing Jonathan Tah. Club sources admit that the deal will be difficult, but Flick isn't giving up. So Flick internally is still pushing for Tah. I think Tah is a great center back. I just would rather back what we have right now. I don't think, unless someone comes in and buys Arujo, which I don't think will happen, then sure, I would love to get Tah, but I just would rather have the setup that we have right now. I don't think Tah brings in any good improvement. I don't think he brings any downgrade. I think he brings the same level. So what's the point of, dilly-dallying and stuff? Of course, if Christensen cannot stay fit, you bring Christensen, you bring in Tan, no problem. But we've seen how well and how good Christensen is. The second half cameo against Real Madrid, the cameo against Espanyol when he came and played against Valladolid as well. We know the ability and quality of Christensen. The issue is just strictly fitness-wise. So we'll see with Tan. I'm more on the side that it's not needed. I don't really see the benefits of signing him unless, again, Araujo leaves, especially with Eric Garcia's, remontada as of late as well. We have there another center back option. So really not worth our while twerking and, making moves and wasting our time, effort, and resources to sign him when he won't really have that significant of an impact. Of course, one of them leave, hell yeah, get him in. But with all of them staying, I don't think he's, levels above any of them. I think he's probably, if you consider all the players at their peak level, I think Top probably comes third or fourth, if we're being honest. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out. But again, the club are still insisting. Hansi Flick is still clean on top, but it really comes down to exits in that position. Now, a position in which the Barcelona fan base can definitely unanimously agree that needs a signing this summer is, of course, the goalkeeping department. Now, Sport have come out saying that there are 3 days right now on the top of Barcelona's list in the event they do decide to sign a goalkeeper, and in the case that also Szczesny does not renew, Joan Garcia, Lucas Chavelli, and also Bart Verbruggen of Brighton. Of course, Chavelli playing for Lyon in Ligue 1, and of course, Joan Garcia playing in Spain for our city rivals, Espanyol. Of course, Joao Garcia is the most favored one around the fan base and probably the best goalkeeper of the three. He's had an absolutely unreal season in La Liga. Szczesny even came out saying the other day that he is the best goalkeeper in La Liga. Also, Diario ARS came out saying that Barcelona have doubts on whether Ter Stegen is still good enough to be a starting goalkeeper at the club, especially considering his latest performances and also his major injury. And the club want to sign a new goalkeeper. If they do, Joao Garcia will be the priority. I would take this report with a pinch of salt. I think they're just trying to, get clicks from the fan base. Everyone else like, oh yes, get rid of Ter Stegen. The reality is, we saw his performance, of course, last night against Villarreal. The guy is just shite. He's just shite at the top level. I'll take him for cup games, but La Liga and Champions League has to be someone else. I think if Szczesny stays, sure, but I don't think Szczesny has absolutely wowed us, and the hype of Szczesny has kind of died down a little bit. He's not really the all-rounder that we expected he was going to be. I think he's definitely, of course, 1 billion trillion % better than Ter Stegen. But if he does stay, will Ter Stegen be the starting goalkeeper, then Szczesny playing the cup? If it's that way around, then just shoot me now and end the season now. If we go next season with Ter Stegen being our number one, I would be shocked if we do win a trophy. I genuinely would be. I think he is a liability of liabilities, and at the highest level, he is just a surplus to requirements. So I'll wait and see. As of right now, the only way we sign a goalkeeper is if Szczesny does not renew. That is the only way. If Szczesny renews, we're going in next season with Mark and Szczesny. If he doesn't renew, the club will go to the market to buy a goalkeeper. Very quickly, I do want to touch upon the Neymar situation. Of course, he will be a free agent this summer, and his plan was always to return to Europe to play in Europe for one more year ahead of the World Cup next year to stay at the highest level. And his dream was always to come back to Barcelona. We all kind of fell for it back in January. Oh, is Neymar going to be back, to end the story on the right path and all this blah, 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 blah. According to TNT Sports in Brazil, Neymar is actually going to renew his contract with Santos into the World Cup in summer of 2026. His original idea was to return to Europe, but that has changed. But now he has changed his mind. He hasn't changed his mind. No European top club want Neymar. That's the reality of the situation. Nobody wants to say, you know what, I'm going to change my mind and stay at Santos. That's not the reality. And with Carlo Ancelotti being the Brazil manager, he probably will pick Neymar no matter where he plays. I don't think him needing to play in Europe is going to be a big deciding factor in that sense. But thankfully, we can now hopefully put an end to this Neymar no return to Barcelona kind of saga, as he is expected to stay at Santos for another year. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to be leaving Barcelona over the past week. First one up is Dani Olmo. Now, Mateo Morito of Relief has come out saying that Pep prefers Dani Olmo to fill the number 10 role for Man City with the, of course, departure of Kevin De Bruyne. He likes the player, however, Barcelona's position is he's not for sale, and the player himself went through everything to stay at the club. However, everything depends on City's financial offer. So he's saying that City like Dani Olmo, and if they make a fat offer to Barcelona, the club might be like, you know what, this is kind of, too good to reject. And we are hearing that right now City are trying to persuade Florian Wirtz to join them. Of course, Wirtz right now is going to be joining either them or Bayern Munich, but since he's German, he might favor staying in, Germany with Bayern, which means that City will have to go find a number 10, and Dani Olmo is definitely one on their table. We knew that, of course, when he was unregistered back in January, City were showing big interest for him. Tony Martin also came out saying that there is no doubt regarding City's interest and ability to offer a lucrative offer and figure to Barcelona. They've been eyeing him since the registration fiasco started, although Dani Olmo will not want to leave after going through so much to stay. So unless Barcelona accept an offer, Dani Olmo will not leave. He will not push for the move on his end. But again, keep your eyes on this one, especially if City do not get Wirtz. If they don't get Florian Wirtz from Bayern Leverkusen, keep your eyes on this situation, because if they're offering 150 to Bayern Leverkusen for Wirtz, they could definitely offer that same figure for Barcelona. And the question now is, would you sell Dani Olmo for 140, 150 after buying him for 40 last summer? 100 million euro profit over a year. I mean, that's a quite sticky one. I say no now, but if you put the offer in front of me officially, I mean, that is a tough one. And I think the form and the ability and how good Fermin is favoring me to maybe say potentially. And especially if we can use that money to invest in the squad on the left wing, a top fullback, a goalkeeper as well. But if you use that money just to, save it up, makes no sense. So we'll wait and see, but keep your eyes on this. Again, nothing's developing. The interest from City for Olmo is strong, but this will only come to fruition if they don't get their current choice in Florian Wirtz. Now, a player who is expected to be leaving Barcelona this summer is, of course, Pau Victor. Sport have come out saying that Pau Victor has already decided to leave Barcelona this summer. The club will allow him to depart as long as it's a loan deal or a permanent deal with a buyback clause. So essentially, Barcelona wouldn't have control over his future if he does go somewhere and do super well. Again, with Ferran Torres now being the backup for Lua and us most likely bringing in a left winger, this guy has little, and I would say probably higher, no chance of getting any minutes next season, especially with Dani Rodriguez, Tony Fernandez, Guy Fernandez with the B team as well. It's just very unlikely he'll get any minutes. I don't think we'll miss him as well. So he stayed in the season. He was kind of the star of the preseason last year. He got his first team spot after that fantastic preseason. Didn't really do much this season. He scored a goal against Mallorca. I mean, scored a goal against Osasuna. I mean, is that it? Like 2 or 3 goals? I mean, poor guys had little to no minutes. He looked pretty lively at the beginning of the season for sure, but bit of a surplus of requirements kind of situation for Pau Victor. So we'll see how things do turn out, but right now the most likelihood is that Pau Victor will leave the club this summer. The next departure that is also very likely this summer is Inaki Pena. Following his kerfuffle with Flick in January, he is very likely to leave the club this summer. Barcelona Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Inaki Pena is set to leave Barcelona in search for more game time, having recently signed with AC Talent. The AC represented by Xavi, Pablo Torre, and others. With his role diminishing under Hansi Flick, he's open to offers both in Spain and abroad. So the Vigo is one potential destination, and a return to Turkey, where he impressed on loan in Galatasaray in 2022, is also on the table. I believe Muslera, the goalkeeper of Galatasaray, is leaving at the end of the season. Of course, a big legendary goalkeeper there, so they're going to have a goalkeeper spot. Look, with Inaki, like I said a lot, he is surplus to requirements. He is not going to be the first team goalkeeper. To be fair, he cannot be, bitching, in my opinion. He had two opportunities to, make a name for himself, a stance for that number 1 position, and he failed both times. He did not fail both times, failed miserably both times. I think in the 2 games, he had one, in the 2 times, in the 2 seasons, he had 1 good game against Atletico Madrid, 1 good game at the Bernabeu against Madrid. That was it. I mean, maybe another 1 or 2 that I'm forgetting, but 4 or 5 good games and about 30 or 40 appearances is not good enough whatsoever. I think he is definitely not good enough. So getting rid of him is a positive thing. I think, get some money from him as well. 5-10 million would be nice. With him having only 1 year left in his deal this summer, I doubt that we get a good figure for him, but we'll see what happens with that. But very likely, and pretty much confirmed at this point, that Inaki Pena will leave Barcelona at the end of the season. Now, another departure that is super likely as well is the departure of Ansu Fati. Miguel Rico of Relevo has come out saying that Ansu Fati will 100% leave Barcelona in the summer. I think saying 100% is him putting his absolute dignity and reputation on the line, but it is very likely that Ansu will leave. Of course, that number 10 has to go to Lamine Yamal. The number 10 is kind of being wasted with him. But I think Ansu is a player that just needs a different experience. He has to go out there and, have a different life. Of course, when we went on loan to Brighton, there's always that one thing is Monday. I have to go back to Barcelona and prove everyone wrong. I'm here at Brighton to go back to Barcelona and prove everyone wrong. If we officially sell him, move on, he can thrive somewhere else. I think he's a good player in there. Of course, his talent was at an all-time high, but the injuries and also the way he handled the injuries did not help him whatsoever. I think his form as well from when he came back from his injury in December until March, not training well enough to be even in the squad, didn't help him either as well. A bit unfortunate with Ansu, and the story is definitely there. A player that's very close to the hearts of Barcelona fans and culés around the world, but just unfortunately not good enough at this level. So I think Ansu's departure is very likely this summer, which also means that Lamine Yamal, getting the number 10 this summer, is also very likely as well. And the final player who is also very likely to be leaving Barcelona this summer is Pablo Torre. Nico of Relivos come out saying that Deco is planning to include a buyback clause in the event of young players' departures, particularly in the case of Pablo Torre, probably also hitting at their Pau Victor as well. I don't think they'll do it with Ansu. I don't think they'll do it with Inaki Pena, but of course Pablo Torre, we all know how great of a player he is. Our midfield is just too strong for him to even compete, especially with Casado and Bernal coming in there in the defensive aspect of the game. I think in the creative aspect, you have of course Fermin, you have Olmo, you have Pedri, you have Gavi, so he's 5th/6th choice, and 5th/6th choice, very likely they get selected. I think it kind of unfortunately sucks for him as well. Don't also forget Frenkie de Jong being in that aspect as well, but definitely I agree with this. If we do sell him, buy back percent of future sale, because he is an absolute talent. You put him in a team with consistent minutes, he will show his ability. Now, a player that does want to stay amends rumors of him leaving and the club want him to leave is Andreas Christensen. Frank Horas, again from Sport, has come out saying that Christensen is going to continue and prove that he can be a starter at Barcelona. I would say, I've been very adamant. I said if he comes back from this injury and he gets injured, I would bid him. He didn't get injured once. He got injured twice coming back. So I'm still on the side of, most likely selling him. I'm just being a bit recency biased with his great performances. Maybe give him until preseason, see how he does then if he can stay fit in preseason. The issue is if you hold him till preseason then he gets injured, then you're basically fucked at that point. Hell of a player, but he just can't stay fit, man. So I'm gonna let the club decide. If he stays, cool. If he leaves, cool. I can see both sides very clearly. I believe on his day, if he stays fit, he's definitely of a level and a player that I would love to have at Barcelona. Whatever we did with Pedri this season, we gotta do it with Olmo and Christensen this summer. That is an absolute necessity for sure. And again, we can keep players instead of going out there and buying players. That's of course the more the better on the side of Barcelona. So we'll see how things play out with Christensen. I think it really comes down to a gamble whether he stays or leave at this point, because I think it's anyone's guess what could happen. But it's quite clear the player wants to stay, which of course will give an advantage of him staying. But remember, only 1 year left on his contract. If he does stay this summer, we're going to have to renew him to hold his value, because then we can of course risk him leaving for free next season. But this one, a bit of an interesting case for Deco. Now, a player that could end up leaving Barcelona this summer just due to the multiple offers that we do have coming in for him is Fermin Lopez. Nico of Relivos came out saying that Fermin has offers from Saudi league clubs, but the player isn't interested in hearing those. The club, however, is worried that there will be offers coming in from Premier League clubs. I am very confident that Fermin will not leave unless the club accept an offer. Fermin and Olmo, I think, are very similar cases, whereas the club are anticipating that big offers could come in for them. And if they do come in, maybe the players will be persuaded by that. We see how much these two players love the club. We've seen how well Fermin Lopez plays, how he kisses the badge when he scores his goal every single time without fail. We've seen how well he played against Madrid off the bench, against Espanyol off the bench, starting yesterday against Villarreal. This guy is an absolutely stellar midfielder. I think he's one of the best in the world in that position. I think the profile of his is so rare as well. I would not let him go for anything less than 80, and I think even if a 100 million euro bid comes in, I would still probably say no. But I think, for the club's perspective, 60 to maybe not 60, maybe like 70 plus, the club would be like, oh, this is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll see what happens. Again, offers are expected, but they're not going to be reaching that, lucrative luxury offers. I don't think the club will be tempted. I don't think Fermin will be tempted either, but another player to watch out for with big offers expected for him this summer. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, the big one, in my opinion, the contract renewal of Wojciech Szczesny, aka Tech, aka Fumador. Marca have come out saying that as of right now, Szczesny is not clear if he'll continue at Barcelona next season or not. Again, a 2-year renewal is on the table, a 1+1, so 1 season with the option of another season. It's on the table. The club, the sporting director, the player have all confirmed it. It's now down to the decision of Szczesny. He did give us a bit of an insight on his decision after the match against Espanyol when he spoke to the media. He said that if I accept a contract renewal, I'm sure, I want to say that one more time, I am sure that I would be the backup goalkeeper next season. I'm yet to decide because this is a new situation for me. I think I'm psychologically capable of accepting the idea of being the second choice next season, supporting and helping Ter Stegen. My decision does not depend on that. It is depending strictly on my family. So as he's saying that if I do stay, I'm going to be the backup, and to be honest, I don't have a problem being with the backup. I'll, accept that role wholeheartedly. I'm really just deciding more so for my future, for the future of my family. Oh, we are like, man, we are going to be absolutely toasted next season with Ter Stegen being our number one. I'm disappointed thinking about that. So now with this being said, I'm kind of hoping now Szczesny says no, that way we can get a proper goalkeeper in that can maybe even challenge Ter Stegen, because if Szczesny stays, no matter what Ter Stegen does, I doubt Flick will drop him, because the thing with Ter Stegen is he's always had this whole thing where he's been the underdog, never got the opportunity, especially with the German national team when he was the number one. Now he's been injured because now Neuer finally retired and all this stuff, and Flick is German. It's all this stuff that's really bothering me. But the Szczesny is saying that if I do stay, I will be the backup. I will not be the starter, and his choice does not come down based to that role. It comes down to his family. So I'll wait and see with Tech. I think for him and his legacy at Barcelona, it's probably better for him to not stay. Not only to help us get a new goalkeeper, but to cement his legacy, that heroic 1 year period alongside Aubameyang and Luke De Jong and Dani Olmo and Adama Traore and all those other players that are hanging to the rafters of how their times at Barcelona were. I think Szczesny would definitely be up there as well. So we'll see. It comes down to his decision, which again we haven't heard from yet, which I do expect probably before the start of the Club World Cup. But we'll see what Tech's decision is gonna be. The next contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong. Alex Pentel of Renewal has come out saying that Hansi Flick prioritizes the Dutchman and Frenkie wants to stay as well. Deco will give the midfielder renewal top priority in the upcoming months. Of course, Joan Laporta also confirmed this as well. Do not forget, de Jong is entering the final year of his deal, but he wants to stay. The club wants him to stay. His family wants to stay. This is going to be, I think, end up happening. Hopefully, we can renew his contract before the beginning of next season. That's going to be the big thing. Or I would probably say hopefully before preseason as well. But of course, third captain of the team, had a fantastic campaign in 2025. It has become an integral part of the team. It has some fantastic, iconic performances in 2025 as well. A player that we should definitely be keeping, but under the right conditions, of course. So hopefully, Frenkie can stay after busting our balls last season as well, and we'll wait and see how negotiations do go between, of course, Deco and his agent Ali Dursun. But again, the Dutchman has told Barcelona and communicated fully that he does want to stay. He told his agent not listen to any other offers, fully focus on renewal with Barcelona. So everything's in place for renewal to happen, just now down to execution. The next contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of the best player in the world right now, Lamine Yamal. Alex Pentel of Relivo has come out saying that Lamine Yamal's contract with Barcelona will automatically extend until 2030 when he turns 18 on July the 13th, triggering a pre-agreed renewal with a significant pay rise. The deal is subject to final review. So again, personal terms on a new deal with Lamine Yamal has already been agreed. He will be, of course, one of the highest paid players in the squad at 17/18 when he renews his deal. Is it deserved? Absolutely. Should we have done it? I don't know. Giving a young kid that kind of money at this age is a 50-50. He can either use the money very well or he can lose his mind. It's going to be an interesting situation, but I back to Lamine. Hopefully he comes from a humble family, a humble upbringing, and doesn't, go too crazy with the money. Invest it well. I mean, I'm not going to be his advisor here per se, but yeah, keeping Lamine until 2030, of course, is massive. His renewal, of course, now will coincide with Gavi, with Araujo, with Pedri, and all the long-term deals at Barcelona, that core kind of group, which, of course, is fantastic. But he will renew this summer. Definitely his contract will be automatically extended even before we go out on the Asia preseason tour. And the final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Hansi Flick. No real update, just more so confirmation that the deal is done. He will sign a 1-year extension. Rafael Uste, Fabrizio Romano, everyone out of the sun have come out confirming it. It's just now down to when. Apparently, we're going to be expecting it at some point this week before the Bilbao game, or maybe after the Bilbao game straight away. But Flick will sign a new one-year deal. I'm expecting a little bit of a pay rise as well after the great season we just had, winning the domestic treble semi-final of the Champions League. Big season, of course, next season as well. And he will go on a year-to-year basis. So every year he'll renew his deal, or he won't. I mean, it's going to come down to really that. But a one-year renewal is expected for Flick. It's already done, agreed, personal terms, details of the contract, all 100% agreed. All we're waiting now for is the official announcement. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past week or so. First up is an update on the Espai Barca project, more specifically, of course, the return to the beautiful Camp Nou. I miss it so much. 2 seasons of the Montjuic have absolutely done my head in. I saw a stat that said that if we do not lose against Bilbao in the final, final La Liga game this upcoming Sunday, we would have a better record away from home this season than at home. Just shows the Montjuic. I think in 2 seasons, the only big game we won at Montjuic was the Bayern 4-1. That's group stages though, and then the Clasico 4-3. That was a close game. I think every other game, every big game, we either drew or lost. So get me out of that stadium, man. Mundo Deportivo have come out saying the renovation of the Camp Nou is progressing well, with recent LED tests showcasing the stadium's new LED panels. The pitch area and turf installation are complete, and work on the 3rd tier entrance and VIP seats are ongoing. And Barcelona aims to return to the stadium by September of this year. The season starts in August, so we got get me in there 1 month early. I think Joan Laporta, Hansi Flick, they've all been asked this. The players as well have been asked about this as well recently. Everyone is very, very clear. The goal is to be there for the Joan Gamper match. I've heard some reports as well, some rumors that they do maybe want to play the Joan Gamper away from Barcelona in a Switzerland country, since of course Joan Gamper, the founder of the club, is Swiss background to honor him per se. So we'll wait and see. But as long as the first home game is at the Camp Nou, that's all what matters. Keep in mind, Barcelona could ask La Liga again, give us some more away games at the start of the season. That could be also an option as well. Maybe have our first 2 or 3 games all away from home. That way we can push it until September. I think it will be probably 3 La Liga games, 2-week international break, and then we're back in September. So hopefully that could be the case. I am very, very confident we will play our first official competitive game at the Camp Nou. We need it. I am sick to death of the Montjuic, and that is the plan according to reports, rumors, and what the Barca board have been saying in the media as well. Now, ahead of a big summer of squad departures and signings, being in the 1-1 rule in terms of FFP regulation is absolutely crucial, and as of right now, the club are very, very confident they will be in the 1-1 rule. Fernando Polo Mundo Deportivo came out saying that the New Era visionary group, who still owes 42 million in 2 payments for the VIP seats, are considering paying the first installment due in September ahead of schedule. This could be very key in Barca returning to the 1-1 rule. To count the revenue this season, the seats must be fully built and delivered. Barca expects them to be completed in May, after which Legmac will sign a document confirming delivery, allowing Crown Global, the auditor, to approve the income. Although only 58 million has been received, Barcelona plans to record the full 100 million for this year due to the New Era's payment commitment. If New Era advances the next installment, it further supports logging in the new income. Again, we talked about this a lot in January, where we used this income to, of course, register Pau Victor and Dani Olmo. So again, a few more details left. The official, I think the salary cap for the summer will be released in June, I believe, in the first 10 days, probably before the Club World Cup, I would assume. And the club are adamant and confident they will be in the 1-1 rule, and hopefully we are. If we are not, we are fucked. We are screwed beyond belief. On top of that, having Ter Stegen this season, I would write off next season already. But yeah, the club are very confident on that sense. So hopefully they do execute in that matter. And just now down to Laporta cooking and doing what needs to be done to have Barcelona have a ease, calm, and more importantly, powerful transfer window this summer. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for the end of this video is in regards to the presidential election, which will be taking place, I believe, either the end of this year or beginning of next year, somewhere around that point. We are, of course, reaching the 4-year mark of Joan Laporta, and of course, every 4 years, the election does take place. Laporta has confirmed via Raccoon that he will run for the re-election. Alhamdulillah, we, of course, weren't sure about this. I talked about some rumors over the past few months that Laporta is, maybe a bit too tired, thinking about, what, I've done what I can, let the new era come in. I've done what I can, the hassle, the stress. But he's staying. He said that we have saved the club and this project deserves to continue. Yes, Prezi. Yes, Prezi. At the end of the day, Laporta should be the president until PK is ready. Victor Font, Tony Freya, whoever the hell else, that fucking, you know, porn pizza guy, they can all piss off. Until PK is ready, I think Joan Laporta should run. I think once PK calls Laporta, says, look, your time is up, my time is now, you can't see me. I think that's when PK should come in, and Laporta should maybe step down. Again, we'll see. I think Laporta in his 4 years has been exceptional, has been flawless. I think the only mistake he has made was the treatment of the Xavi sacking last summer. You can't even say that Xavi sacking was bad, because look what we did this season. But I think the treatment, the way he's gone about it, was poor. Same thing with Messi, not his fault, but the way he dealt with it, telling Messi last second, coming to the office on the contract saying, "Oh, we can't sign it, sorry." That wasn't, you know, that nice. Wasn't a big fan of Alonso's renewal as well. Maybe that was already agreed upon, already promised with Xavi as well. So can you really blame him for that? So I'm thinking, what, 2 to 4, you know, not even errors, more so just handling of situation that didn't go that great. Apart from that, fucking flawless. He has defended this club, brought this club back to where it belongs, where the levers, you know, dealing with, you know, the Spanish BS and the Guerra case, Javier Tebas on his ass, dealt with everything to pure, utter perfection for the greater good and what's best for this club. Give him another 4-year. I'm on board with it as well, and thankfully, since he is running, he will most likely win. The only people that will be against him is the grand animation stand that he kicked out back in November. You'll see them saying, "Oh, Barca C, Laporta no," like fucking hooligans. Disregard them. They're like a group of 400 or 500. They don't know anything. They're just upset that Laporta kicked them out, and he kicked them out for valid reasons as well. Hoping the new stadium and the new Camp Nou will have a proper animation stand that isn't run by a bunch of freaking hooligans. But Laporta si queda. Hopefully he does run, and hopefully and probably he will end up winning. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past week or so. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. Mainly the thing I want to know is, of course, Barcelona's transfer plan, left wing, right back, center back. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the personnel being linked in that area? Secondly, on goalkeepers, what would you do? Back Szczesny to stay, you know, keep Ter Stegen, go for a new goalkeeper. Thirdly, on Dani Olmo, what amount of money would you need to be offered to let him go, with that rumor of Pep and City being interested? Find your thoughts on Laporta's re-election and us being in the Camp Nou at the start of next season. You think that'll be a reality or not? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.